I don't know how much different this show will sound, but it feels a little different today. I spent a lot of time over the weekend. I had a night where there was, well, let's just start with no baseball, but there was nothing really going on. And I spent, I don't know, like 8 hours just on tweaking little things. If you're tuned in right now, you might notice the logo's different. That was one of the things. Changing the logo, updating it, getting the logo in all the places, because the show needs to be everywhere at once. We're doing this little live stream thing, 10 to noon, Monday through Friday, and I appreciate every single one of you who is a part of it and is joining in and checking it out and sharing with others. Like, I'm not even on, it's not even 10 o'clock yet. I'm just playing music to make sure everything works. And I've already got people lining up to get in, and that's on a Monday morning for no real reason. I very much appreciate your presence here, but what I need to do is grow the thing and have like a universal, it sounds so cheesy and modern, but like a universal brand. I need the same logo everywhere. I need the same audio to go everywhere. I need to promote it in various places. I need to be able to tell you, go to Writer Radio and everything is there. Instead of saying, all right, for the live stream, you want to go to this MixLR thing. And for the audio version of the podcast, those are at the website, but also you can find those on YouTube. Like, all of this is true. But I need one place to send you. And writerradio.com is that place. I have learned recently that in my, I don't know, let's say 10-year gap between putting together websites and now, they've overhauled the entire like WordPress system, and there's this whole thing. So what I had to do is I went with the old guy move. You know, the thing where it's like Gmail decides to change formats. You're like, no, leave it here. Even though the reality is Google's got a good idea. They're making Gmail better. They're improving things, but I just don't need everything changing on me all the time. So I am back to, you go to Writer Radio right now, it is a super simplistic website that has a logo on it, and it's like a blog. There's one post, and in that post are the 3 links you need for right now. How to listen live, how to listen to the archive, the podcast version of the show, and the music from the show, the Spotify playlist. Those are the links right now. We need contact. We need you to be able to become a member. We need info about the golf tournament that's coming up that we were talking about with Dave Dombrowski last week, and we'll continue to talk about. And is coming your way in Gowanda in September, and you're going to have an opportunity to bid to play with me in this tournament. And like all of that stuff, we needed one home for it, and that's writerradio.com. But in order to make it work, I had to strip it down, go back to absolute bare bones. So I've been working in the background to set things up. Even my personal setup here is a little different. I don't know if I sound different, but I have this headset mic that I haven't been using because it was broken when I started doing the podcast. Then I worked at a radio station for a while. Turns out one of the engineers there, Greg Harvey, who's the best, is like an authorized dealer of the brand of headset that I have. So I gave it to him. He fixed it, replaced a part, and I've just not been using it. But I think it's a better setup using a headset as opposed to I had like a boom mic coming in, and there's a tripod, and it's getting in the way of the little table. All the stuff is set up on it. It was a pain. So like even that has been refined. I ordered some new wires or cables online so that things aren't stretched so thin. So I've got 10 foot of action to play with on either side when I want to move stuff around. I installed speakers as monitors so that when I do take a break during like I'm talking for 20 minutes or 25 minutes or an hour, and then I need 6 minutes to go get water and, whatever, walk around a little bit, make sure the house isn't on fire because the kids are home and the wife's working, that kind of stuff. I had to just crank the headphones and then kind of listen to hear what was going on through the headphones. I've got speakers hooked up now. It's getting cleaner and more efficient and becoming a machine, which is what it needs to be. I had a meeting a few weeks ago with a guy who is interested in investing in the show and helping it to grow. And I haven't had a chance to get it to the point where I can accept that offer because it's not designed that way. The parts didn't all fit together or haven't all fit together. The website still is not at all what I want it to be, But at some point at, I don't know, 2:30 last night, I was like, well, I need it to be functional for Monday. I shut it down and I shut it or like put it on maintenance mode over the weekend. So if anybody went there, they just wouldn't see anything because it was ugly. It was just stuff everywhere because I don't know what I'm doing. But I figured out last night, all right, if I just go back to the super basics, turn it into a blog, instead of having all these fancy widgets and stuff on the website, here's the site, here are the things you need on it, and just go from there, and we'll work on it. But the logo is different. You'll notice that. It might sound a little different because of the headset mic instead of the boom mic that I usually use. New wires, just more. It's a more comfortable me. I put in, what do you call these things? Like cup hooks. I put in a hook in my little, I've got like it used to be a kitchen island, little wooden rolling island thing that I had at my apartment before I got married. And I love this thing. It's cool. It's like a butcher block top, and it has become the home base for the recording equipment. There's a whole computer setup at the desk, but then the recording equipment is on this little recording / streaming / broadcasting equipment is all on this little island thing. I put these screw hook things in, so now the headset will just hang. And my clipboard hangs, my clipboard with my rundown sheet, and my rundown sheet is completely full today. And Scott Wilson's coming on, so there's no way I'll get through all of this. I should just read all the words on the sheet out loud. Here's what we won't get to. That's what I'll do. So here's what I have written down on here. I have The Killers, Warren Sharp equals Bob Gone Audio, Nate on Blue and Red Game, My Virgin Eyes / Ears, Fuller Godfather, Killers Again, CMAC, Black versus White Family Picnic Reunion Barbecue, Max Hairston and Shakir Week to Week, website logo, editing, archiving, etc., travel tryouts today, Jared Allen rips pants at Hall of Fame induction, Scott Wilson, next year's Hall of Fame, Hard Knocks tomorrow at 9, patty cakes, Texas state government in Illinois, tribute to Hetfield, list of people who all have the same birthday as Marv Levy, including Marv Levy and James Hetfield and Tom Brady and Martha Stewart and MTV were all born on August 3rd. I discovered that this morning when I saw a thing about a tribute to James Hetfield. There's a headline like, fans outpouring of support for Hetfield. I go, what happened? Is he dead? Did he catch on fire again? No, it's just his birthday. That's kind of the thing. You see somebody trending. I'm not on Twitter / X that often, but just use that as an example. Like you see a name is popping up all over the place, whether it's trending on there or just, in the news. What's going on with Hetfield? It's either his birthday or he's dead. It was not Ozzy's birthday last week or 2 weeks ago. It was not, God, who died right then too? Oh, wow, how is this slipping my mind? It was back to back. Ozzy and somebody else died back to back. I'm sorry that I'm forgetting. I was supposed to just read, and then I have written down, the last thing on my list is always playlist, and it says The Man, Runaways, because leading into the show, I played 2 songs from The Killers. One is what I would consider my favorite Killers song going into seeing them over the weekend. I saw The Killers over the weekend. It's a band. I'm not trying to freak anybody out. We dropped off the kids at my parents' house because the show was in Canandaigua, so it's, hour and a half drive or something. And they just slept over because we didn't end up getting home till like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I dropped them off. And my parents are very supportive of my music habit. They understand that I go see a lot of bands. And they'll always ask, knowing full well that they've probably never heard of them, but you know what doesn't sound great to your 70-something-year-old mom? Thanks for watching the kids. My wife and I are going to see a band called The Killers. So who are you going to see? I'm like, The Killers. And she just kind of looked at me. I'm like, they're not. It's just a band. It's just the name of the band, Mom. It's fine. I promise. They're the least satanic of really of anybody that I listen to. They're downright pleasant compared to a lot of the bands that I've gone to see who have more pleasant names. So they're The Killers, but they're killers in the way that like Kill Tony. They're killers. They're on stage and they're killing it. They're killing it. I didn't go into this as a huge fan of the band. I like them. I think they're all right. I never cared about them. First, I really thought maybe I should pay attention, is when my friend Jeremy White, who back in the day, I remember he was just like, I'm not into live music. I just don't. I don't know what to do at concerts. I don't. Am I supposed to sing? Am I supposed to? I don't want to do it. I'm out. All right, Jer. We'll just not see eye to eye on music. And then out of nowhere, he went to see the Killers in Toronto and came back raving about it and how great it was. So then I was left trying to figure out, is this a great band that has converted Jeremy to caring about live music, or has he just never seen a live show before and now he's blown away because this is all so new to him? So at that point, I started exploring their music, and then shortly thereafter, I got together with my now wife, and she was into them. So I've listened. I listened to the first two albums, are like front to back, really strong. And even if you don't think you know the band, you probably know a few of these songs, like that type of thing. I'm not saying you necessarily, but for me, like, oh, that's that. Oh, yeah, okay, I like this one. I remember that. Okay, cool. So I have a like positive association with them. I bought one of their other albums when it came out, and so I have a positive association with that. My favorite song from the band is off of that album. It's called Runaways. They played it in like, I don't know, pretty late in the set. There's a point in a live show that I've always felt. And it's usually like, there's 4 songs left in the set, but you can feel when it kicks in. It's usually some kind of a valley in the show, and then you're just like, whoa, here it comes. And like that was the slot. If you talk about live music with people like me or people less psychotic than me, I think everyone would agree. There are songs that like, oh, that's an opener, or that's a set closer, or that's a beer break or bathroom break, whatever. That's the one I can walk away from. Like you have to build a set in that way. I talked to Jer Hoyle about this at some point, and I wanted to really explore it. Like I would do an entire show on how do you build a set list when you're in a band. I'm fascinated by it. I like making batting orders, baseball lineups, and if I was in a band, the batting order is the set list or the track list if you're building an album. Like I'd love to have a lengthy conversation about that process with someone who has done it and does it. But anyway, everyone knows about the opening song. That's a thing, and the last song of the set is a thing, and the song you play when you come out for the encore is a thing, and the thing you close the whole night with is a thing. I use "For Those About to Rock, We Salute You" by Van Halen. Good God, by AC/DC as the prime example of that. Like you can't play another song after you play "For Those About to Rock," which is weird because of the title. We've talked about this. The title implies it as an opener, and I guess it would work there. But once you bring out these cannons and you're screaming shoot, and they're boom, shoot, boom, boom, you can't then play another song. And those are slots I think everybody knows about. But there's this sort of ramping up slot that I grabbed onto, 35 years ago when I was first going to concerts regularly. There's this spot in the set with 5, 4, or 3 songs left where it's just like, all right, here we go. It's go time. It's pedal to the metal. I even saw it. I watched, I've been obsessed with Billy Joel lately. I watched a full concert of his that I recommend to everyone. First of all, watch the documentary. It's 5 hours long, I understand. The other night I went to watch it again. I was like, I just did this. What else? I'm like, oh, you know what? I wonder, because I started episode 2 of it again. And episode 2 opens with him playing My Life, I think, at Madison Square Garden. And I thought, you know what? I don't feel like watching a movie. I feel like watching a concert. I wonder if I can find just an old Billy Joel concert. And yes, you can. In fact, there was one in 1984 that was broadcast across Europe. So it's not just some dude with a VHS camera standing in the crowd in 1984. It's a fully produced, 1984 style produced, but it's a produced concert from 1984 in London of Billy Joel and his massive band. And it's awesome. But even in watching that, there's a spot where it just hits, and you're like, oh, here we go. And it's just, now we're moving, and you can tell it's accelerating to the finish line. That's where they put the song Runaways in the set when we saw them the other night, which I thought was super cool. And then the other one that I put down is called The Man, which I had never heard. And I played that right when I started the show. None of you heard it. Maybe 2 of you were tuned in. I might mix it in again during the show as people are actually listening. But it was a thing, too, when I go see a band that I don't know super well. There's going to be a new song that I didn't know about that stands out to me that I go back home and check out. The song The Man is just a super duper Talking Heads song. It's in listening to the Killers prior to this show. I shouldn't even say it that way. I was sitting around on, when was the show? Saturday, a couple hours before the show, and just doing stuff, cleaning up, like I said, like working on my studio down here, working on fixing the logo and fixing the web, all that stuff. And I was like, we're not leaving for a couple hours. I should put on some music. And I had this overwhelming desire to listen to The Cars, the band The Cars. So I put on The Cars, and it did not take but 2 songs before I realized that was my subconscious telling me, hey, the Killers remind you of The Cars. Because I'm listening to The Cars going, oh, this has got to be a massive influence on this band. Hearing the song Just What I Needed, that wasn't even the one that got me. That was one of 2. They're like the second and third songs on the greatest hits, the side of the greatest hits album I listened to. The second and third songs, I'm like, oh, Brandon Flowers is singing like he's in The Cars, and he's writing songs like he's in The Cars. And I noticed on Battleborn, which is the one album that I bought independent, just on my own. It came out and I bought it, the one that has Runaways on it. Listening to that, it sounded to me like a modern Cheap Trick album. So I'm listening to this stuff, noticing the similarities between the Killers and The Cars. And I decided to look it up. Just like Brandon Flowers, Cars influence, whatever. Brandon Flowers inducted The Cars into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, this is not a coincidence. There's a YouTube cover of them doing Just What I Needed in concert, and him talking about being influenced by his older brother's record collection. Like, all of this came to me as if in a dream. While getting ready to go see a band, The Killers, that I don't know super well, I wanted to listen to The Cars. And then I discovered the connection. Just cool, man. Music's just cool. So the band, the show, let's see. Yeah, 10:21. I can do this. Hulk Hogan's the other person that died. Thank you. What was my point? Oh, the band was, I am more impressed by the band than I was going into the show. This was my wife really likes them. Her friend really likes them. Hey, we should go. It's an outdoor. Yeah, I'll go see a live band. I've got nothing against them. I'll go see anybody that I don't hate. Like, I was invited to go see Coldplay with my wife and the same friend years ago. I was like, I'm not going to go because I'm going to ruin it. You're going to be trying to have a good time. You're going to be having a good time. You're going to look over. You're going to see that I hate it. You're going to ask me about it. I'm going to say I don't want to talk about it. It's just going to turn into this whole thing. And then I'm going to criticize this thing that you like. And I'm not trying to make you not like Coldplay. Just please don't try to make me like Coldplay. Even in the car on the way to the Killer show, a Coldplay song came on. My wife's like, you don't know this one. You got to listen to this one. And I listened to it. I'm like, that's pretty new, right? And she's like, yeah, it's, 7 years old or something. I'm like, they actually got worse. It was the worst Coldplay song I'd heard. She thought turning it up would make me like it more. I hated it. So anyway, my point is, I'm not going to go to your Coldplay show and ruin it for you. Killers, I like them more than I don't like them. I've got nothing against them. Sure, I'll go. And they were excellent. Except the venue, which is super cool in theory and looks great. CMAC, it's called. I'd only been there once before, and it was 30-plus years ago, 31 years ago, really. It was a show that I've mentioned recently because I saw Fish in Canandaigua on the same day that Billy Joel and Elton John played Rich Stadium. And I remember driving home from it and seeing a million lights on the thruway heading out of Buffalo, and I'm just coming back in, me and 8 other people coming back from Fish in Canandaigua. And I remember thinking, wow, that traffic stinks, and I bet my show was better than yours. And I don't know that it was. I would like to see each of those shows equally right now, but in the moment, I would rather go see Fish with 5,000 people than Billy Joel and Elton John with 80,000 people. It made sense at the time. What was my point? Oh, the venue. So I don't remember much about the venue. I did think this is probably one of those ones where you get stuck in the parking lot for a while when you're trying to get out. And as we're approaching it, we know that general parking at the place is $10. And as we're driving in, there are all these places offering parking in their yards, like going to a Bills game, offering parking in their yards for $30. Like, there's got to be something to this. Why does it cost more to not park where we're about to park? But as tourists, as suckers, we played it very simple. We were meeting somebody, but we were meeting them on the lawn once we got inside. So there was no, like, we'll park together, we'll tailgate. There was no plan. We didn't bring food. We didn't bring a cooler. Just nothing. Some water, and let's go. So we just went with the suckers and parked in the $10 lot. And as it turned out, it was not great getting out, but we just sat in the car without even starting it for an hour, or sat in or around the car for an hour, and then it cleared out, and then we were fine getting out, and then it was totally cool. So that's the review of parking at CMAC. You can do the $10 version as long as you've got an hour you're willing to just sit and do nothing. There's no point starting the car and sitting in a line to leave. So we just didn't start the car, waited till there was a little bit of clearance, got moving, and we were out within 3 minutes after we started moving the car. Just had to be patient. So that's the parking lot part of it. The venue itself, the amphitheater looks great. There are these seats kind of inside. They almost, I don't know what the word loge means, but it reminded me of loge seating at a like at a theater. There's that. It's a really cool looking thing. It's right near Canandaigua Lake, but it's got a grass hill behind it. We had lawn seats, just the general, and poof, by lawn seats, I mean spots on the lawn. Did not know that the vast majority of people who come to that actually bring lawn chairs and set them up. So it's not a free-for-all. It's people in chairs, and then you've got to find a spot. We didn't know to get there super early, so we ended up way in the back, which is fine. We had a blanket to sort of mark territory, but the intention was to just kind of stand up and watch the show anyway, so who cares? Unfortunately, we couldn't see the show. There were screens. They were too small. I had decent angles at times. I'm 6'3". I could sometimes see a screen. No hope of seeing the actual stage. The way that it's angled, it's very steep, and still could not see the stage over the people, because not only are there people on chairs, there are people standing on chairs, and that's what I experienced as a 6'3" dude. My wife is 5 foot nothing. She saw nothing of the show. Once in a while, she got like a quick glimpse through an angle of the screen, one of the screens that were too small. And that would be okay. She said she's used to not seeing things because she's little. She's been short the whole time. So she's used to that part. What we're not used to, she's not used to. We couldn't hear it either. I mean, you could definitely tell there was a band playing. And if no one around you was having a casual conversation, you could make out the lyrics and all that sort of thing. But the reality was a regular conversation happening 10 feet away from you was easier to hear than the band playing. Minimally, I would have liked the audio to be twice as loud. And it just wasn't. You could just stand and have a conversation. It was like the band was on TV and we were in a room talking, and like you're kind of watching it. You know, when I don't like going to parties for Bills games. Like, oh, I'm having a bunch of people over. No thanks. I'm having nobody over. If my kids are talking during the game, I'm going downstairs. Like no. I watch, I listen, I pay attention. We'll talk. We can talk about the game. We're not going to talk about anything else. And that's what I want out of a concert experience, too. And it's not that I didn't get it. I couldn't possibly get it unless every one of the, 15 or 18,000 people, it was a sold-out show, unless every single one of them shut up so that we could listen. It just wasn't happening. So I can't recommend the venue. I like what it looks like. I like it in theory. It was, for the most part, pretty easy in, easy out. The parking is pretty close compared to other amphitheaters that I've been to. Particularly Blossom Music Center outside of Cleveland. Like that place, you get in and you park, and it's easily a mile, but I bet it's 2.5 miles to get to the venue. Like you're there, and then you just go for a walk in the woods just to get to the show. It's crazy. This isn't that. And it took a little while to get out, but generally speaking, we got in pretty easily. We parked, we walked in pretty easily. No lines, no nothing at a sold-out show. But then we wound up in the back, and we couldn't see or hear, which is really, that really puts a damper on a concert experience. So while I liked it and I was impressed by the band from what I saw and heard, and I don't mean you couldn't hear it. Like, you knew they were playing. And if they're playing a song you knew, you'd recognize it. But, like, if a person in the crowd is singing along 10 feet away from you, you shouldn't hear that person more clearly than you hear the actual singer of the band. And that's what was going on here. It was as if they didn't have any speakers for the lawn. It's like all the music was coming from the stage, which was way down that hill, and then they weren't, pumping it up the hill for us. We needed more speakers. We needed something. And I'm not blaming the band. I think the venue is flawed. Now, it's my second time there in 31 years, and I don't remember a problem with Fish, but Fish probably had 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 people there. This was a full house, and we were way up at the top of a hill. So it's different. So my review of the band itself is I would like to see them again. They played again last night, right? I saw them 2 nights ago. They played last night in Niagara Falls. I wasn't about to do that again. But to see them in a theater type of venue, I think would be spectacular because they were really good. They put on a really cool, energetic show. We just couldn't see it at all or hear it very well. So that's kind of a bad combo. It's a thumbs down on CMAC, but thumbs up on the Killers. I am more interested in pursuing their music now than I was before I saw them. So thumbs up on them. Not their fault, just sort of the situation. Chuck Mangione died too. That's not who I was looking for, though. I was looking for Hulk Hogan. All right, update from Niagara County. We got baseball and other from our man Arbo, our junior Niagara County reporter. Niagara County News, rabid bat confirmed. Homeowner exposed to bat. Homeowner and dog exposed to bat. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a story. I mean, it sucks for the person. I would assume every day someone is exposed to a rabid bat. Right? I mean, exposed? What's exposed? Bitten? Do bats actually bite people? I only know them as nuisances. And things that confuse. And things that get rid of bugs. So I'm kind of pro-bat. I mean, I don't want to be around a lot of them. I'm kind of pro-bat. All right. Baseball update from Niagara County. In the PGCBL Championship, Batavia Muck Dogs lost to Saugerties Stallions 2-0. Last night's game took 17 innings. The season is officially over. Well, you know how I know the baseball season is over? Because travel tryouts are tonight. That's right. The week or so without baseball is done. And it's still fine. There's just a tryout tonight. Yes, fall ball starting. We'll have practices and games coming up for that too. But it's like baseball light. It's okay. But it's back already. Travel tryouts tonight for Drew's team, the little guys. The 9U Shamrocks. There's that one. And then I think this weekend is Nate's tryout. And then baseball goes away a little bit for a couple weeks again. And then it comes back. I think the 19th is the first game. So, yeah, we got 2 weeks-ish until a game. And then it's a nice light season. Just one team for each kid. 8 games per kid. 16 games over the course of a month and a half is nothing compared to, we had 16 games over the course of a week at points during this spring and summer. So that's good. But, yeah, baseball is over, and therefore it's back. Travel tryouts today. Looking forward to that. CMAC lawn is not great. Both Darien Lake, which sucks, and CMAC could take a lesson from whatever Post-Gazette Pavilion outside of Pittsburgh is called now. The lawn seats are decent. Sound is great no matter where you are. Concessions are way better. and I've never had an issue getting in and out quickly. Yeah, the amphitheater experience typically is, all right, I might not have the greatest view, but I can see a screen, and I can hear it. I feel like I'm at a show. This didn't feel like we were at a concert. Like once you got high enough up on this hill, which is not, a crazy hill. It's like Art Park-ish. Maybe a little, bigger than that, but same basic concept, same angle. But at Art Park, anywhere you go, you're at a concert. And here it was like, oh yeah, somebody's got their radio on over there. Even the opening band. The opening band was a band called The Bends, Bends, like the Radiohead album. And they were from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And they sounded pretty good, I think. But I thought, they're quiet, but they'll turn it up for the Killers. A lot of people were talking over it, so it was difficult, but they were good. They were interesting enough for me to check them out once I got home, which I have not done yet, but I will. Still remember the name. It's going to happen. But they were very young. I think at some point I heard the guy say something about how they just finished college. They're from Baton Rouge, so I assume they're like an LSU band. They said that they were farther from home than they'd ever been, and it was the biggest crowd they'd ever played in front of, and they were good. Not great, but like good, competent, like, all right, I could see this turning into a thing. But it was too quiet, and I thought the volume will come when the real band gets here, and then it didn't, and that's disappointing. Which stinks, because I want to love the show, because I think I would have loved the show if I could have seen it and heard it. Because any view I got of what was going on down in there was awesome. All right, I'm gonna play those two songs that I played to start the show. The two Killer songs. First is Runaways, which is my favorite Killer song. And then the second is the one that got my attention because it sounded very much influenced by the Talking Heads and also like the Bee Gees. I've got a thing for rock music that's got a disco thing going, and that's kind of what happens with that one. So you're going to hear two Killer songs as I take a break, and then we'll be back. I got a couple more things I want to get to. Then Scott Wilson's going to join me just after 11 o'clock. We've got some Bills stuff to get into. Hard Knocks begins tomorrow night at 9 on HBO Max. We got that. I've got audio from Warren Sharp, football analyst, that makes him sound a lot like Bob Gahn, like a less ranty Bob Gahn. But he's saying the same thing that Bob Gahn has been saying for months, but specifically for weeks, about Josh Allen and his abilities and his performance in playoff losses. That's a part of it. It really stood out. It popped up in my feed at one point. I was like, I need that audio because, man, he's saying the same stuff that Bob did. All right, a couple Killer songs, and then we'll return. It's episode 136 of Writer Radio. WriterRadio.com is the place to go. And what I need from you, and I know I feel bad that I'm always asking you for stuff, but I need you to like and subscribe. To like is what I just said. To like and subscribe. Do all the stuff that you always hear the YouTube kids say. It's all real. Like, subscribe, follow, share, all that stuff is the way that this grows. And I know it can grow because it seems, granted, I get the nice stuff more than I get the mean stuff. I mean, if you tune in and you hate it and you just go away, you probably don't talk to me about it. But I'm hearing really good things about the show, and the people like it and they enjoy it, and it's a part of their day. We just need more people to know about it, and then we're good. So little by little, that's going to happen. We're connecting all the stuff, but youtube.com @Writer Radio. Subscribe there. I put the podcast out through Spotify. That's a good place to subscribe. But whatever you use. I personally use an app called Podcast Addict on my phone. I have an Android phone. I'm pro Android. It's the app that I chose easily 10 years ago, maybe longer, that has been perfect for all of my podcast needs. The show now is going out in podcast form without the music on it after each episode. We did have a little snafu on Friday where the show didn't record the way that it's supposed to because I had some sort of a memory issue on my computer. I resolved that. That's what I was talking about with the 8 hours of solving stuff. Did a lot of solving, a lot of problem solving with regard to the show. But part of what's going on here is it all needs to be embraced. Like all the technology needs to be embraced by me and also by you. So the more of you that subscribe to the YouTube channel, the more people it will put it in front of. The more of you that subscribe to the Spotify thing, the more people it puts it in front of. And then just go to writerradio.com, which is where everything is going to be listed. Right now it's listed in the most simple form ever, but you need the links. You need the MixLR link for the live stream. You need the Spotify and YouTube links for the archived audio. And then you need the Spotify playlist to just have fun, because that thing is up to, 8 hours worth of music or something like that. And it's awesome. I've been using it everywhere. Backyard parties. I used it at our softball game, our 18 innings of softball for adults. I just put on the Writer Radio playlist and had very few complaints, except from the young ones who wanted, Bro Country or something, which I did not make available. So I need you to just do all the stuff. I'll do the show, you do the stuff. We've got a nice little arrangement there. Scott Wilson joins me soon. We're going to listen to The Killers. 2 songs. I saw them over the weekend. They were excellent. Again, CMAC, not great, but the band was very good. Here's my favorite Killers song, followed by the song I'm most interested in and I think could become one of my favorites. Or maybe it's just that it sounds like Talking Heads, so I'll like it like 3 or 4 times and then I'll stop. I'm not positive, but I'm going to play those 2 songs and then we'll be back. I'm Brad Ryder, Writer Radio, episode 136. Thanks for tuning in. Here are The Killers. This portion of Writer Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at writerradio.com. Little 3-song set of music there. 2 from The Killers, 1 from The Cars, just mixed in to show you that I'm not nuts. Like, certainly his Brandon Flowers vocal thing, once I made that connection, like, oh, that's his favorite. And then finding out that he inducted them into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They cover Cars songs. He talks about it on stage in the video that I saw. Like, yes, it all fits together. It all makes sense. Good band. Venue left some things to be desired, but and also there's another thing too. We went to leave and there was walking out of there. So we're on the grass. It's dark. Some lights come on, but generally speaking, it's pretty dark in there. It's not sunny anymore because now it's 11 o'clock or whatever. Trying to walk out, and somehow there's no ushers or people kind of pointing you in a direction. So we're trying to leave from the lawn area. And walking back, I fully expected to come to the stairs that I had walked up to get onto the lawn. So it's just my wife and I walking. Me and my wife and I walking. Yeah, the 2 of us are walking. And you're in a crowd, you're in a herd, just kind of one of those. Just very slowly trotting along, trying to get to, or plodding along. Is that the word I'm looking for? Plodding along. Just trying to get out and expecting to be herded through a gate of some sort, but there's no one directing anything, and we just as a crowd just walk into a fence. Not crash into it, but you're just walking, you think you're making progress, and then now there's just a fence there. And it turns out we needed to go, I don't know, maybe 20 yards to the right, and then the stairs would have been there, and then we could just walk down. But there was no one there to explain that. When you're in a crowd, you can't see all this stuff. So it was just this weird setup where all of a sudden we're all at a fence. So we ended up going left with a large group of people. Just, all right, there's a fence here. Eventually we'll be able to get through. It turns out you're walking out. We're kind of in the woods. And then the fence was not going to disappear. So we eventually turned around and went back and climbed through the fence to get back. And then went back up to where we were and came back down. But just no help getting out of there was another thumbs down on CMAC. We were there. They have some other good shows coming up. Our friend that we met there was like, hey, anyone interested in Sublime? And by the end of the night, it's like, not here, man. Yes, I would be interested in seeing Sublime with Bradley Noel's son as the singer. They're coming there soon. But I'm not going there. I would go there if I had seats. But as far as taking my chances on the lawn, this is about the worst I've ever failed with a lawn seat. Lawn seat is usually, it's fine. I'll find a spot. It'll be okay. Again, I'm 6'3". That's easy for me to say. My wife's 5'0". It's hard we got to find a real spot. Me by myself, no problem. Me going to Syracuse to see Dave Matthews alone because my wife had a migraine a couple years ago. But then knowing Scott Wilson was there and finding a way to get into the seats anyway, like just me, I can navigate anything. I'll be wherever I want to be if it's just me. I'm carrying nothing. I have no one to discuss plans with, just moving seamlessly. There's nothing wrong with going to a show by yourself. The drive home kind of sucks. But generally speaking, like I was fine with that. Going on the lawn, like for anything at Darien Lake, I've always been fine. You know, sometimes they're better than others. Sometimes, but I've never thought, the show was good, except I couldn't see it or hear it. That's never happened at Darien Lake or at Blossom Center. I didn't. I had a real ticket for that one, and it was just me, but I was in like the 10th row, so that was fine. Saratoga, SPAC, same thing. Lawn seats. Sometimes you get really lucky with a great lawn situation. Sometimes it's not perfect, but you never leave feeling like you didn't experience the show. And that's kind of the feeling I had here. Like, wow, that was a really cool concert. I wish I was there. Kind of what I came out with. All right. Scott Wilson's going to join me just after 11. The next thing I have written on here is, okay. Yeah, I'll do 5 minutes on this. So we had a family picnic yesterday. My mom's side of the family, my uncle sets it up. And as a bad nephew, I couldn't answer him until like a couple days before as to whether or not we would attend. But we were able to attend, all of us, the whole family of 5. We all went. And it was great. We had really good attendance. And we had a bunch of little grills going and, you know, hot dogs and snacks and that sort of thing. Played some cornhole, excuse me. There's a playground for the kids, the little ones. The other ones are able to run around, throw a football around, that kind of stuff. It was great. We're at Como Park in, I guess that's Lancaster, but, you know, Erie County Park, Como Park. We wanted to take a picture because we had pretty good turnout, really good turnout. And wanted to get a picture of the group, which is cool, except in order to get everyone in the group, you need someone else to take a picture. And no one was strolling by. You would think hanging out at a county park, someone would be walking by, excuse me, can you come over here and take a picture? Somebody goes by on a bicycle, whatever, something. Someone will do this. That was not available. So it was on me to go to the next picnic shelter over and recruit a photographer, which I had no problem doing. But I will say, I got some strange looks when I was the only white guy walking into a black family reunion. And I immediately disarmed them by saying, hey, sorry to bother you. I'm looking for a photographer. We need somebody to take a picture right at the next shelter or whatever. And Kayla was kind enough to say, I'll do it. So this girl came and she took pictures. That was cool. But now that I was aware of the party going on at the next shelter, I just wanted to go to that party. We were so lame and white. We were sitting around eating hot dogs and potato chips and, you know, celery with blue cheese, like that kind of stuff, like little snacky things. I'm sure there was a taco dip. I didn't see it. There was cheesecake involved. There were cookies. There were brownies. It was one of those things. But, like, my parents are playing Yahtzee with my kids, and I'm watching them play Yahtzee, and I'm looking over at the next shelter, and they got, like, a full-on electric slide going. Massive speakers, bumping bass, cool, like, 90s R&B going on. Like, they got Johnny Gill. We didn't even have a speaker. I brought a speaker thinking I want to liven up our party, and then I looked, and I'm like, these people don't want music. We're just sitting around at tables. Look, it was great. It was awesome to get everybody together. But, man, are we just some white people sitting around under a picnic shelter in the shade. And then this other family, they had full-on, like, metal, like the barbecue, like a setup, like that was brought in. The whole setup, and I didn't get a real close look at what was there, but I know it was good. I know it was better than the hot dogs I ate. I know it was. And I looked, and by the end of it, I was really admiring what was going on over there and thinking, man, that's the good party. What am I doing over here? My boring white people party. There's no dancing at all at my party. None. I don't want to dance. I want other people to dance, though, for my entertainment. That's what weddings, like weddings. I'm never going to dance, but I want people dancing. I don't want the dance floor empty. I want chaos on the dance floor. I just don't want to be a part of it. I'm an observer. But observing the next shelter over from ours, I was jealous of the 4 or 5 white people that had integrated themselves into that family because they were having the time of their lives. Just looked like a better party. Sad. All right. Is it 11 o'clock? It is. That means I got to play a song, and then Scott will come on. So the last thing I did was played the Killers song that sounded like Talking Heads. So now I feel like I'll play a Talking Heads song, and then we'll have Scott on. Does that make sense? So I did Killers, then Cars. Then Killers that sound like Cars, then Cars. Then I did Killers that sound like Talking Heads. So it seems like the move would be to do Talking Heads right here. So I'm going to do that once I get the folder open. There it is. Okay. Files, audio. I'm trying to avoid playing like Jay-Z in the background anymore because if I just play a song by itself, I can chop that out for the podcast version. But if I'm playing music under me speaking, then it screws everything up. So I'm not doing that. So that's why you're just getting silence. But I think the show might sound better now that I'm using this headset microphone instead of the mic on a boom that I've been using for the first 35 episodes of the digital-only version. Why can't I find Talking Heads? I know that I have Talking Heads in this folder, or I thought I did. This is going to screw everything up if I can't play the song I wanted to play. They're not the Talking Heads. There they are, just Talking Heads. Remain in Light. I've played this. I'll do this one. Great Curve. I'm going to do, I think, one song, and then Scott will be on. So stick with me. This is Talking Heads, The Great Curve. This portion of Writer Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at writerradio.com.
Let's check in with Writer Radio's senior football correspondent, Scott Wilson.
Let's do exactly that. Scott Wilson's here. What's up, Scott?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Good. So I heard you went to CMAC this weekend,
Yeah.
and the reviews that you have been talking about have not exactly been
Not selling you?
glorious.
Not selling you on wanting to go see a show there?
Well, I've been there twice,
Okay.
but I have only sat inside the pavilion,
That's a different world.
and it was great.
Yeah, it seems great. It seems great. I think a perfect, Finger Lakes facility. It's awesome. It's the right size venue. It's the parking was fine. Little slow getting out, but you expect that when you're kind of in the middle of nowhere and you're next to a lake. So everywhere you go, like we even got out of there and I ended up having to go the wrong way. We had to drive all the way around the lake, but we were out of traffic, so it didn't matter. It's just an extra 15 minutes. But yeah, it seemed great until we were on the lawn in what might as well have been a different county.
Yeah, that's tough because inside the pavilion, it's like a miniaturized, smaller version of Saratoga.
Sure.
Where there's, instead of having like a balcony section directly in the back, they have like some of those like suites on the side, and it's a really nice setup in there, and it's parking, like you said, is decent. And if I've been on the lawn in Saratoga, and I don't know if there's a better lawn than Saratoga because of the number of speakers combined with the number of screens. Like you can go to the other side of a building,
Still hear it.
and
Probably see it.
they have a whole other courtyard set up where there's video and speakers up there, so that you're not even on the actual lawn. You're at the flat part of the top of the lawn, like behind some of the vendors, and there's a whole big thing out there where it's actually kind of nice if you wanted to bring kids,
Sure.
where it's not the intensity of being there, but you can still see it and hear the live music and be out there. But that's tough. When you get a tough lawn situation like that, it sucks.
It's actually Saratoga. SPAC is not that much different from going to the track at Saratoga. It's like, yeah, you can go in there and stand next to horses and be crowded, or you can be half a mile away and still experience the entire thing because there are screens and there's audio, and everywhere you go, you're at the show. You know, at SPAC and everywhere you go, you're at the track, whether you're right next to it or not.
That's true.
And it's honestly, the way you're talking about it, I'm thinking about it's not dissimilar to like being in the 200 level at the arena where you never leave the bowl. I mean, if you go into the bathroom, obviously you're going behind a door, but you can walk around, you can go get food. You never lose sight of what's happening on the ice at the arena. If you're in the 200 level, you're in the 300 level, you disappear forever, and then you pop back out to where the game is. But everything at SPAC is like being in the 200 level at the arena, which is fantastic. And this just wasn't that. And I think they just need more speakers. And I immediately, when I walked in, thought, these screens seem small. And then when I got to the top of the hill, yeah, they were real small, and people were in the way. It was pretty bad.
My other concert take is you texted me. You talked about it earlier, but you texted Paul and I the link to the Billy Joel concert from 1984 that you had watched.
Yeah.
And I did watch. I watched the first 3 songs.
Okay.
And the one thing I'm taken with is 1984 Billy Joel's third song is Piano Man.
I know, that's the thing that stood out to me
and
too.
It's like, holy Christ.
Right.
What are we in for if song 3 is Piano Man?
Right.
Like,
So,
good Lord.
And I talked about this where like songs belong in slots, and I could see opening with that. I can see closing the set with that. I can see using that as the opener of the encore. I can see closing the whole night with it. Nowhere would I have slotted Piano Man 3 ever in the history of Billy Joel concerts, but there it was.
Well, I will say, going to shows that I've been to a number of Dave Matthews Band songs, and they rotate the set list every night.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you could get a wide variety of it. And I will say you can kind of get a feel for what's going to happen through the first 4 or 5 songs.
Yep.
Like I've been at Saratoga, which is one of their 3 big places to see them, where they just do amazing weekend length shows. And, you're 5 songs in and you're like, all right, we're not effing around today. Yeah. Like they're getting after it. And then you've been to, I've seen them like in Cincinnati, and it's like, all right,
a little sleepy.
We're all here for a good time. It's going to be a good show. We're going to have a good time, but we're not going to, set any records or bust anything crazy out. So when I'm watching Billy Joel's third song be Piano Man, my first thought is, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else does he have?
It's going to be that type of night. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, I highly recommend watching all the way through, because the thing that stood out to me, the first thing that stood out was that, like, Piano Man third. Okay. All right. The other thing that stood out is I don't think that show is possible at all without mounds and mounds of cocaine. The level of energy that kicks in, and obviously we think of Billy as an older guy now. He wasn't so old in 1984. He could still rock, but the energy that he pours into the entire show, and then he hits the spot, and you've been to enough shows, where it's like, all right, here it comes. We're giving you everything because we got to get out of here. Here's all we got. We're leaving it on. And he does that, and then he plays another song, and then another one, and then there's like 5 songs where it feels like it's the end of the show. And then eventually it's Only the Good Die Young, and there's no way this happens without drugs. Like, there's no possible way he can run around, because, his thing is he's the piano man. Like, he hangs out near the piano, but specifically in the 80s, this show is from 84. This is An Innocent Man. So this is like Tell Her About It and Uptown Girl, and like the stuff where he's got almost choreographed dance stuff going on. And he's out there just running around the stage and still sounds great. And he's not lip syncing. It's not fake. It's real. I have no idea where the energy comes from. We're 2 weeks in now to me just being obsessed with the Billy Joel documentary, and I can't get enough. Like I told you, the reason I watched it is because I started watching the documentary again. I was like, no, I just want I want a live show. And then I found that one, and it's absolutely awesome. If the website was up and working totally, I would link to it and put that up as a post on the site. Maybe it is now. I don't know. When I'm done with the show, maybe I'll do that. But people should see that too. I don't want to tell everybody what to do with all their time with their television, but I've got some good ideas.
Right. And I did watch. I'm to the point where my children now will walk into the room and say, "Didn't you watch this already?"
Yeah.
about the Billy Joel doc when it's really, I'm waiting for pizza. The situation was we're waiting for the pizza to get delivered.
Right. I'm not starting something new.
Right. I'm not starting something new, and it just happened to be on. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I know this is awesome. So I'm gonna catch a little bit of it. And again, we didn't talk about this part of it, but it's shocking for somebody like me who was not in it during the time period that it was happening to really learn that the critics were so harsh on him.
Yeah, it's weird
about it when everybody loved it. Everybody loved it. Like, unless you were a metalhead, I guess.
I was a metalhead and I loved it.
But I mean, like, everybody loved it except for like the 8 people that had columns.
Yeah.
I don't know. And it seemed frustrating for me, and it seemed even more frustrating for, like we talked about, the intimacy of the lyrics and things hiding in plain sight of, I can't really imagine the mental toll it would take on me to write such personal things. Like, this is what's happening in my life. And then to have national critics go on television or the newspaper and say, this sucks.
Well, and it's not just,
it's like, well, what the hell, man?
It's not just it's not just the personal stories, because you can go to any, open mic night at a coffee shop and hear people telling really personal stories. It doesn't come with the talent. The talent, the musicianship, the classical background, the song structure, the melody, everything about it is perfection. And it like, to criticize that is insane to me. And I guess some of that crept into my head because it took me seeing this movie to kind of go, you know what, it's not a joke. Like, somebody wrote in about the there's a scene in Step Brothers. I totally forgot about it, but there's a band at the Canandaigua Wine Mixer.
Yeah, at the Canandaigua Wine Mixer, where they do only 80s Joel.
Only 80s Joel. So, like, they're making fun. They're making fun of 80s Joel. And I don't know.
Play the piano, man. No. Only play 80s
strictly
Joel.
80s Joel. And I get the joke. It's a funny joke, but I don't know. Billy Joel doesn't belong at the center of a joke. Yes, his 80s career was cheesier and weirder because of the dawn of MTV and him kind of stepping into that role. But he just did whatever he wanted all the time. The Innocent Man album, I didn't understand at the time that it was a tribute to all of the different styles of music that he grew up on. But with some separation, now I get it. I loved that album. It introduced me to all different styles. And, I grew up listening to stuff in my parents' car. So it's not like I didn't know what the Temptations sounded like or what Frankie Valli sounded like. And I think I did get that one, the Frankie Valli thing, like the longest time. Like, I understood that was a like throwbacky thing. But to me, that was pop music of the time, and he was criticized for being a chameleon. I was like, no, he's capable of doing all of these things. I don't know. I'm just with you. I'm defending Billy Joel. We probably don't need to do this every time we have you on, but
I know. I don't want to turn it into a Billy Joel.
It kind of is, though.
Tribute podcast, but it's in seeing the critics and then going back and listening to It's Still Rock and Roll to me is thinking like, oh, this is a good pop song, when in reality he's saying, listen, yeah, I tried different stuff every album and it's still rock and roll. Like, I'm doing the same thing. It's just it's that the song is a literal, it's not a phrase, it's a literal interpretation of how he's feeling about the criticism changes my entire view of the song and how clever it is.
All right. So I've talked to you about it. No, that's all right. I've talked to you about it. I've talked to Paul Peck about it. I've talked to John Fuller about it. You know who's missing? Our biggest Billy Joel fan from our UB football broadcast is no longer in town. But Brian Wolf is a massive Billy Joel fan. Never shies away from talking about how much he loves Billy Joel. I texted him the other day and said, have you watched this thing? He's like, no. I'm like, well, it's Scott and I. He's like, all right, I'm going to watch it. Then I'll listen to you and Scott talk about it. And then I'll come on and talk about it. And he's finished it and maybe has seen it a couple times. And I sent him that concert link. And I think he's going to watch that while he's at work today. So at some point very soon, we're going to do a whole conversation about the Billy Joel doc again, but it'll be with a different person. So you and I don't have to cover it every time because you're our football guy and our Hallmark guy. You're not our Billy Joel guy.
No, but it's like within 2 weeks, I'm getting there.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
I know, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
The movie's that good. Football. All right, you sent me a text. So I was at that show the other night, and you sent me a text and said, we could definitely use this for next year. I got 3 automatics, and I was like, I couldn't get – oh, that's the other thing. No internet at all from the time I approached the grounds at CMAC. That's a big negative. I was still able to send texts, but as far as internet, just nothing. Could not get anywhere. So I couldn't even open the tweet that you sent me, which was an Adam Schefter tweet, and it's a list of first-time eligibles for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class 2026. And you said, I've got 3 definites, and I'm looking here, and I see 2 definites, and I'm trying to figure out who your third is. So here's the list, if you'd like to discuss this. Are you cool with that?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Jason Witten, Frank Gore, Julian Edelman, Marquise Pouncey, LaShawn McCoy, Thomas Davis, Greg Olson, Alex Smith, Des Bryant, Steven Gostkowski, Geno Atkins, David DeCastro, Mike Pouncey, Sean Lee, Todd Gurley, Jarrell Casey. I'm going to assume the first 2 on that list are yes and yes in Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees. Those are 2 of your 3, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then your third, I think the closest I'm coming, no, I'm not going to say it. I don't have a third. I don't have a third for sure. I'll have a conversation about a bunch of them. But to look at that list and come up with 3 immediately is impossible to me. I have no idea who your third is. Who's your third?
My third is Phillip Rivers.
Oh, okay. Top 3 on the list.
Yeah, I think Rivers is definitely going in. I know that he had a lack of playoff success, but he's one of the best passers in the history of the league. And he was able to have consistent success through several different iterations of coaches, as well as being involved with one of the cheapest organizations in the league that never really did anything to help him. They drafted LaDainian Tomlinson, and, what else? They never brought in any meaningful free agents.
They had Gates.
They never brought in anybody else. Yeah, right. They brought in Gates, and he was there. But I mean, if Antonio Gates, who just got into the Hall of Fame, this weekend, I mean, the guy that threw him the ball to get him to the Hall of Fame should probably also be like, he can't get into the Hall of Fame without somebody slinging it to him.
Yep.
And that was all basically all one person for his entire career.
Yeah, that's true. I loved Rivers, obviously. Coming out of college, ranted about why the Bills should get him, and they didn't have the ability to get their hands on him because he went 4th overall, but ended up going to the team that had the first pick overall. And if Rivers had stayed with the Giants, I think that they probably would have made another Super Bowl in there. I don't know. I don't know if they beat Brady or whatever. I don't want to say that, but I think that he was a much more consistent and talented quarterback than Eli Manning was. Eli maybe had a little bit more of the clutch gene in those 2 playoff runs, but I can see them winning. And I think that this might be the biggest argument against Eli Manning getting into the Hall of Fame, which is if that trade doesn't happen, I can still picture the Giants being very, very good, if not being able to reach the Super Bowl. Right. And Eli, I guess if I right now had to choose, like, who's a better quarterback, who's a better player, who would I rather have on my team? The answer is Rivers. Of the 2, the answer is definitely Rivers. Which one has a better chance to get in the Hall of Fame is a different answer because of those Super Bowls. I think Rivers, he's a candidate to be punished for lack of playoff success. Like, I don't think he's first ballot because of that.
Okay.
And
I can see that.
And I'm not even saying if I'm a voter that I might be on the yes side of the vote. I still just, from a prediction standpoint, I think he gets punished for lack of playoff success. For, his reputation is massive numbers, chokes down the stretch. Is knee-jerk reaction to what does the public think of Phillip Rivers, and I think it's that. I think good player who racked up a ton of numbers and never did anything with it. I don't know if it's fair or unfair, but I think that's the rep that keeps him from being a first ballot guy. I started looking at, like, what do you do with Frank Gore, who
Nothing.
played
He is
forever?
not a Hall of Famer. He's an accumulator.
Yeah, I know. Rafael Palmeiro. I just, I don't know. Is Edelman, does Edelman get the spot that people have been hankering to give to Steve Tasker? I know it's different, but like shifty white guy on really good team. Does he end up getting a spot there? He's also cool. He's very he talks a lot, and he's fun, and he's quotable, and I think that helps. Again, this is not trying to figure out who deserves it. It's more who do I think is going to go in. I think he's going to get some consideration there.
He's going to get consideration, but I never watched him and was like, man, Brady's got a Hall of Famer at wide receiver.
I know.
He had Brady had 4 guys just like Edelman during his career there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably right.
They all did the same thing, right? Wasn't Troy Brown similar to Wes Welker, similar to Julian Edelman, similar to,
Danny Amendola,
the other guy, Danny Amendola? Like they all, I don't know. Edelman, to me, I know he had a little bit more of a special teams flavor to him than the other guys we just mentioned, but I don't think I never watched him and was like, that's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. All right. No, I agree, but I'm just trying to think who gets in. Witten. What about Jason Witten? Jason Witten accumulated massive stats.
I think Witten is probably going to get in. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't put him in first ballot, but I don't know if he's. I would probably think he's going to get in. I don't know if I would vote to put him in. But he was very good at his position for a long period of time. But he was also never better than Tony Gonzalez or Antonio Gates. He played for a long time, and he played for the most talked about team in the league.
That helps.
And that helps a great deal. But Witten could, I don't know. As a Giants fan, I guess I'm a little bit biased in the fact that, like, he had massive games against the Giants. But, it's frustrating when every other time that I tuned in and saw the Cowboys play, he was having a nice game, but he just specifically used to rip the Giants all the time. I don't know. I think Witten is probably going to get in. I don't think that he should. I think he was the 3rd or 4th best at his position during that era. And I don't know, if I was making a team during the era that he played in, I probably don't have him on the 2 deep.
Right. That's a good point. There's nobody else on this list, because what happens here, they'll put in whatever it is, between 5 and 7 inductees, and looking at the new possibilities.
There's some O linemen in there that are probably going to get consideration.
Right, but what we're really asking is who on this list is making the people who are already waiting wait longer. And Fitzgerald is, and Breeze is, and maybe Rivers is. The rest of this, like LaShawn McCoy is not Hall of Fame. Who is Thomas Davis?
Bears running back.
Okay.
I think he also played for the Panthers.
Okay, yeah, vaguely familiar. Fine. Greg Olson, good player. No. Alex Smith, pretty good. No. Des Bryant, good. No. Steven Gostkowski, get lost. Geno Atkins might sneak in. He had like a quiet reputation as this dominant force for not a great team in the Bengals for the vast majority of his career. I don't know who David DeCastro is. Do you?
I think he was a tackle from Stanford.
Okay. Mike Pouncey, Sean Lee, Todd Gurley, Jarrell Casey. There's nothing there that is.
Like I don't think any of the Pounceys can get in, right? I mean, they're mixed up with all kinds of off the field stuff, aren't they?
Well, yeah, and also, are you going to choose one over the other? Like they just kind of cancel each other out. Like if they combined into one person, and there was just this guy that did all those things, but it was one guy, maybe. But I think they kind of keep each other out because I can't separate them super well, and I don't know that anybody else can either. So I don't know. I guess that's where we land on that. What else did I have? Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks tomorrow. Will you tune in and watch it live? Is it going to be something you get to eventually? What's your plan?
No, I'll probably I'll try to. I mean, I'm going to set it to tape. We'll see if I'm awake or
Right.
how the day unfolds. But
it's high on your priority list to watch this thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it's going to be interesting. I texted you earlier the list of people that are not practicing today for the Bills.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
was
like,
lengthy.
why practice? What are we? Isn't that the team? Like, what are we talking about? So it's going to be interesting to see all of the bumps and bruises that are happening throughout training camp when they haven't played anybody. They haven't done anything yet. And they've got a lot of guys banged up already. So how they're dealing with that and what they're going to do is going to be very interesting. And I think not just as somebody that's, my son loves the Bills, so he's all about it, but also for the sheer number of UB players that are involved in this team, it's very interesting as somebody that loves UB. And there's a good chance that there's going to be a pretty strong focus, at least on some of those position groups that the Bulls are involved with, specifically linebacker and defensive back. So I think it's going to be interesting. There's going to be, and again, the injuries factor in here, but Cam Lewis and Jamarcus Ingram are fighting for positions now that Trey White is back. I think that kind of skews the numbers a little bit, and they're fighting to stay on the team. And you still have Joe Andreessen, and they signed a linebacker / defensive end and then drafted one, right? Mm-hmm. So, and they already had the three guys there. So where does he end up in all this? It's going to be very, very interesting to see. And it's just cool as somebody that's been around training camp and has been around everything to be able to see it on a national level and take it in from NFL films. It's going to be cool to say, oh, hey, I know that place.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of the meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with DiCaprio
pointing at the TV,
leaning forward, pointing at the TV. It's going to be a lot of that going on.
Yeah. So this is a list of many injured players, but also James Cook, who's not hurt but has decided to stop practicing. I don't know what it means. I don't know how worried I am. I don't know what I'm supposed to think about the whole James Cook situation. He's going into the final year of his deal. You think he gets an extension? Like that's happening?
Yeah, I've heard that they're close. They're not set yet, and this is more about getting it done as a way to force to get it over the final hurdle here. They're not too far away.
I mean, he's there and he practiced, and then he decided on yesterday to stop practicing or to not practice, and then he didn't practice. He's not practicing today. All right,
Bean's first ever holdout.
Yeah,
he's never had somebody miss practice for contract.
Right.
So interesting.
We're considering this just a negotiation tactic. Nothing. There hasn't been any sort of announcement of like I'm holding out because it's just like it's in my best interest not to play right now. And you know,
everybody, all my friends are getting hurt. I should probably stop now.
Right. Yeah. Okay. If it's that simple, then I don't, because I've just not cared about the story that much. Like, I think he's a very good player, and I think it's better if they have him, but I also don't want to hamstring myself with the cap thing on a running back. Like, he's good.
No, I think it's that simple. I think it's all my friends are getting injured doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I play running back. So I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to be here, and we're going to get this over the finish line.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'm not going to hurt. I don't want to get hurt over the next week before this is done.
Okay. All right. I feel better about it because I just not cared. Like, it'll get resolved or it won't. But once he showed up, everything was fine. Like, all right, he'll play or he won't, or I don't know. Or he'll, get extended or he won't, but he'll be on the team this year. I need him on the team this year. Like that would create a massive hole if he weren't playing this year. But as long as he is, I'm not that concerned about next year, but he is concerned about next year, and now's the time to make that happen, I guess. Okay.
I think him, his Hendrickson from Cincinnati.
Yep.
And then McLaurin, who recently asked for a trade. I think that those three situations are very much trying to just give an extra little push, I think that those situations are more about leverage for money as opposed to Micah Parsons.
Yeah, he wants out. That seems pretty clear.
Situation who I know Jerry Jones and everyone else is still very much treating it like, all right, well, they'll show him money and then everything's going to be fine. I don't know, man. Have you ever been angry enough to text somebody a 3-page notes app message?
That notes app is killing people.
America.
Yeah, I know.
He did that to America. And if you actually sit down and, instead of just saying, oh, all right, he wants out. And then if you actually read it, the issues that he's having are not the other people that we've talked about very much seem like, I would like more money, please.
Right.
This very much seems like, hey,
why won't you talk to me?
You're trying to screw me over here, and I don't like the way you're dealing with me. Not that we're dealing and have different numbers. I don't like the way that you are acting and treating this, and I don't know how that gets solved. Now, if this ends up being, if in the next couple of days he signs a massive contract and, he's back in the fold.
Myles Garrett style.
Then egg on my face, whatever. I bought into it and I felt suckered for it.
Well, it feels like the Garrett thing, though, doesn't it? Garrett, it felt this way, and then, all right, we're fine.
Yeah, and maybe that is. Maybe it is that situation. I don't know. I just reading the note, it very much felt like a different situation from the other contract situations that are happening around the league right now, where Terry McLaurin doesn't want to trade. He doesn't want to move. But he very much would like to express to everybody how upset he is that this deal hasn't gotten done, because he's been a good soldier through a lot of bad teams.
Right. Now Daniels is there.
Now it's my time to get paid, and I want to get paid right now. But Micah very much seems like, I've tried to get this done for 2 years, guys. You've tried to they tried to cut out the agent, which is very interesting. With Jerry Jones just trying to get a deal done with him personally. And, Micah Parsons admitting in the app, or in his note that I was ready to take less money by signing earlier and getting this done so that we're not even close to this point. And no one would talk to me. And then when they did, they brought me in under guise of wanting to talk about the team and leadership. And then it turned into them trying to negotiate the contract with me without my agent, which is a big no-no. Like, I know the NFLPA is nowhere near the strongest group of it's nowhere near baseball,
right,
as far as Players Association, but that is something that you do not do. Even they have complete agreement on that. Like, if you have an agent, he's there for a reason. Talk to my agent, because I'm a player. I don't know how this is supposed to go, but I pay an agent to know how this is supposed to go so that I don't get screwed. And to have them do that, I don't know. I don't know how it gets solved with just more money, it's going to be very interesting to see how Jerry Jones finesses this. And, he's already in a situation with his quarterback and a $50 million cap hit. I know that the cap keeps going up, but he keeps making bad late deals. There are teams that are out ahead of things where, I think the Bills are in this. I think the Eagles are in this group.
Sure.
Where if you look at the Eagles quarterback wide receiver combination, the three receivers, or the two receivers and the quarterback for the Eagles, are less than just Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Which those three players are probably better than anybody that the Cowboys have. So eventually he's running out of room in the cap. I know the cap is fake and you can always manipulate it, but if you're going to piss somebody off this much, you're going to have to pay them a lot of money. And eventually it's going to tighten things. It's not going to be impossible, but it's going to tighten things and make things uncomfortable.
All right. So let's do the Bills, Micah Parsons thing. Obviously that would be a tremendous fit for, what they've been.
Yeah, that would work.
What they're missing. Is there anything off the table from like a draft pick standpoint? When a situation becomes untenable like this, I don't think you have to think about, I'm going to give up 3 first-round picks. I don't think it's going to be that. If the guy is really on the market, I don't think this is, a Herschel Walker trade to get him. I think it's a common sense, we got to make our cap work, you got to make your cap work type of situation. You're probably giving up one of your young defensive ends in a deal, whether that's Russo, Epinesa, whatever, and then some picks. I mean, is there anything that prevents you from thinking this is a good idea? From the way that he is behaving right now, the statements that he's putting out, do they have any impact on your interest in him being here? Do we want disgruntled coming to Buffalo, or does the talent supersede any concerns about that?
Well, I don't think he would be disgruntled. I don't view him as a disgruntled person in general.
Okay.
Where you would TO type, like TO would be somewhere for a year and a half, and then you're like, it's over.
Or Diggs more recently,
Right. I don't view him like that at all. I think that he feels manipulated, and that's not a good feeling to have, especially when you're talking about, you guys should have paid me $200 million by now. Like, this should be done. I'm one of the best defensive players in the league, if not the best. As far as the Bills, is your name Josh? If it is, then I'm not trading you. But if it's not, I'm willing to trade you for Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
I would be very reticent to trade Dawkins.
Sure.
And some of the O-line guys, just because I like what I've got going on there. They've shown that they've been versatile and a good element to the team. But again, you want Rousseau? Fine. I think you would probably reference back to the Khalil Mack trade, because Khalil is of the same level of talent.
Sure.
And was probably even more versatile than Micah Parsons. And he got traded for, 2 firsts, a second swap, and a third.
I think
remember.
in there,
and then maybe a couple, like a 6th and 7th in there as well. But those were the main pieces that Chicago had to give up, and that would be fine. I'm fine with that if I'm a Bills fan, because with Josh and the setup I've got going on right now, and thinking, all right, I'm going to add Micah Parsons to the list. I'm thinking about, I'm trading you the 30th pick in the draft. Okay.
Right. Yeah. First isn't so great when you're in the Final Four or you win the Super Bowl or whatever. It's not that big a deal.
Right. It's just an extra 2nd round pick.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna stay tuned to that story, because it's cool to know. I mean, I don't know that Parsons is in a position to place demands on where he would wind up, but if he is at all, it's cool to have one of the teams where it would make sense that someone would go, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, that sounds like a good fit for me. And I just assume that now, which is nice. We spent 20 years of not assuming that. But the assumption now would be moving to the Bills is an upgrade from whatever situation you're not happy in. At least it would be perceived that way. So that's nice.
Considering for almost 2 decades, the only way the Bills could get somebody of this caliber was locking him in the building and refusing to let him leave until he signed a contract.
Mario Williams.
You know what I mean? Like, it's come a long way to saying it's Josh. It's Josh. We have Josh. We're going to be in every game. We're probably going to win a bunch of games. We're going to the playoffs. Are you interested in going to the playoffs every year? Are you interested in being a part of this generation's Manning versus Brady?
Right.
Against the Chiefs. Are you interested in playing, like, the Bills get just as many primetime games as the Cowboys?
They do
now. So
one on merit, one on uniform.
Right. So, a player of that caliber where it's not being sent to die anymore, like some players being traded to Cleveland. When the Giants traded Beckham to Cleveland, it was basically, and Beckham has admitted this, the Giants did that on purpose to send him there to die. Like, you want to complain about being here? Fine. Go check out the gulags of Siberia that is the Cleveland Browns organization.
Right.
And they were right.
Yep.
They were right. It sucks there. They're terrible. And the Bills were that for a long time. And it's not that way anymore, which is very cool.
I'm a fan. All right. We'll talk to you Friday, man. Thanks for your time. Right. Appreciate it. Scott Wilson, senior football correspondent, chiming in, and we'll get back with you very soon. Thank you to Scott, regular guest, frequent contributor. He's the most popular guest in America. No, that's not. He's the most frequent guest on Writer Radio. He's on twice a week. We have our regulars that are on once a week, and then Scott's just on twice a week for however long he wants to be on because he's in tune with everything. We can talk Micah Parsons and or Billy Joel. It works fine. Got a message in. Binge watched the Billy Joel documentary yesterday. Always a fan, especially after seeing him in concert. Whole new appreciation and respect for the piano man. Highly recommend. 5 stars. Thank you. Play a song. We'll be back in just a minute. This is, what are we doing here? Spoon? We'll do Spoon. This is, I think this is the right one. It's called Wild. And it reminds me of In Excess. I'm just doing songs that remind me of other bands. Spoon's really good. Spoon Live was one of the most surprising. Like I know a couple songs, it'll probably be okay, and then it blew me away. In the way that the Killers probably would have blown me away in I'm going to say a different venue, or if I just had better seats. But Killers, very good. Venue, not good. Way up high on the grass at CMAC in Canandaigua. All right. Thanks to Scott Wilson. It's episode 136 of Writer Radio. Here's Spoon. This portion of Writer Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at writerradio.com.
We're down at 4 now for the Bills. This should be a gigantic play in the game. And Holcomb back to pass. Oh, here he comes. It's the one, Teddy Bruschi. Oh, look at the ovation. He's still running. He's running. He's leaving the stadium right now. He's going to the parking lot. There's smoke coming from the parking lot. Can we get a camera on that? He's jumped into a burning car, and there's puppies inside. He has saved an entire litter of puppies. He's going back in. He grabbed their toys. The squeaky toys are safe. Oh, my goodness. Bruschi on the sack. 4th down, and the Bills, here comes Brian Mormon. They're ready to punt. All right, now it is 16-7. The Bills in the lead comfortably right now, and the offense for New England needs a spark as they break the huddle. Brady calling out, Teddy Bruschi's at wide receiver. Teddy Bruschi is on the field. Back to pass. It's a wide receiver screen to Bruschi. There are 4 guys on his back. Teddy Bruschi carrying Sam Adams and Nate Clements on his back. Look at him go. He's still on his feet. Oh, there is Terrence McGee on his back. There are 6 players now on his back. Some I can't even see. Coy Wire jumps on and finally makes the tackle. Thank goodness for Coy Wire. What a player he is. But Teddy Bruschi is probably the best person I've ever seen in a uniform. Number 54. Oh, they're putting a bust of him now at midfield on the 50-yard line. And, oh, my. Did we mention that he had a stroke? Did we mention he almost stroked out? An amazing story. The fans chanting that he is a golden god. It's a little bit awkward, but still, he is a god. Everybody on the field now, including the Bills, bowing to Teddy Bruschi as if he is some kind of mythical creature, half man, half god, half possible centaur. I'm not sure, but either way, I wish he was my dad. All right, 3rd down and 10 coming up here. 4th down now, the Bills set to punt. There it is, a high spiral, fair caught by Patrick Pass at the 42-yard line. What a play, though, by Bruschi there to make sure he knew to fair catch that. Bruschi is amazing. His communication skills, he can speak 38 different languages, and he told them that one in Arabic, told him to fair catch that. Patrick Pass, wow, would not have known to make that play if not for Teddy Bruschi on the field. An amazing player, this Teddy Bruschi. And now I'm being told Bruschi has won the lottery, right? Yes, he's hit all 6 numbers in the New England lottery, and he is donating all the money to every person in the stadium, splitting it up right now. Everyone gets at least $150. What a guy. Teddy Bruschi for American of the Century.
Go Bills, for we are here to cheer for you. Go Bills, we are your fans so true. With victory in sight, We'll yell with all our might. So go, Bills, fight, Bills, go. Come on, let's win for Buffalo. Go, Bills, we're with you. Fight, Bills, we're with you. Go, Bills, let's win this game. We'll raise up all our voices high. A Bills team spirit will not die. So go, Bills, fight, Bills, go. Come on, let's win for Buffalo. Go Bills, for we are here to cheer for you. Go Bills, we are your fans so true. With victory in sight, we'll yell with all our might. So go Bills, fight, Bills, go. Come on, let's win for Buffalo. Great job, folks. Thank you. Great job. There's our fans. Thanks a million. You are great. Super. Thanks a lot.
Marv Levy is 100 years old as of yesterday. He shares a birthday with James Hetfield, who turned 62, lead singer of Metallica. Tom Brady, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback, turned 48. Martha Stewart turned 84. And I mentioned on Friday, MTV was also born on the same day, August 3rd. That's yesterday. So MTV was born on Marv Levy's 56th birthday, on Martha Stewart's 40th birthday, on James Hetfield's 18th birthday. That kind of makes sense, right? MTV is born, Hetfield is 18. He's ripping it up out in California. And, 7-8 years later, they're in a little bit of a sensation with one, and then Enter Sandman in 1991. So 10 years later. Wow. Hetfield's only 28 when Enter Sandman comes out. That's something. And Tom Brady was 4. Tom Brady's 4th birthday is when MTV was born. I don't know. I find that interesting. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. Whatever. It's my show. We'll throw in the interesting things. Here's one that I have to read before. I have a lot of windows open on a lot of different screens in front of me. And what happens is if I don't get to stories, they just stay there. And I like to clean them up as much as possible. So as we're wrapping up the show here, headline, Jared Allen tears pants while doing his sack celebration at Hall of Fame induction. He ripped his pants. Jared Allen, pass rusher, he had sort of the, they call it the calf roping sack dance, where he kind of gallops a little bit and spins his arm around like he's doing some of the lasso. I don't speak cowboy, but you know what I'm saying. After receiving his gold jacket, he performed his signature calf roping sack dance while on stage with his family. This was often performed as a sack celebration on the field. In the midst of his celebration, he tore the pants of his suit. I'm going to watch the video. We'll see if they mention it. Is the music off yet? Hold on. Let me make sure that's off. Don't want to double up on audio. Let's see if we hear anything here. No comments. But, yeah, from crotch to knee on his right side is just gone. That happened to me once. I think only one time in my life have I ripped my pants, at least that I remember. Only once has it happened in a memorable thing. It was not on stage in Canton at the Hall of Fame induction, because I've not yet been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So it couldn't have happened. But it did happen at a wedding where I was in the wedding. And we went to the wedding itself, and then we were in a limo, and this was before the era where every limo was a bus or an SUV where you could, like, there was room. It was just long car, but you got to kind of stretch to get into it and step over people and whatever. And at some time, I think we had gone to the wedding itself, and then we did a photo shoot somewhere, the wedding party, all in a limo. And then we were getting in the car to go to do another photos. Like we were doing photos at 2 different places or something. And I went to get in the limo, and I had to step over people to get to my seat. And as I did so, just rip, just like Jared Allen, except not on television, but maybe more embarrassing in front of, a dozen people, all of us dressed in tuxedos and dresses and things. And then we got to take a trip in the limo to Tuxedo Junction to get me new pants for the rest of the night. So little delay put in there. Jared Allen had no delay. He ripped his pants on stage, then he left the stage. But I'm sure he had other pants, and he was probably fine. But this was not easily solvable for me at age 22 or something when I was in a wedding, and I ripped my pants like a big fat guy would. It was great. I still blame the limo not being tall enough, and I had to maneuver, trying to step over people. But that was pretty embarrassing. Yes, I had that story open just so I could talk about the fact that I ripped my tuxedo pants in a limo once between photo shoots and had to go to Tuxedo Junction with everybody else. We went to the McKinley Mall location. Is that still a place? I wonder if there's still is there still a McKinley Mall? And if there is there still a Tuxedo Junction? I'm going to try it. I'm going to find that out. Tuxedo Junction, McKinley Mall. There it is. Still exists. Open right now. They're open till 7. 4.2 stars. 69 Google reviews of the Tuxedo Junction. Exceptional experience. Oh, this is Walden Galleria. That's the wrong one. I only want to know about the McKinley Mall location. First-time tuxedo buyer, but the level of service and quality of tuxedos offered at the price point were phenomenal. Where are the one-star reviews? There's 5. How do I get to the ones? I don't want this. Google reviews. I want the ones. Show me the ones. All, no. Lowest rating. All right. See, now this is about the Galleria location. This is not what I'm looking for. Oh, McKinley is temporarily closed. And by temporarily, I mean never coming back. All right, we've got nothing. We've got nothing on McKinley Tuxedo Junction. It just says closed. I don't know if the mall's still there. I mean, the structure, I'm sure, still exists. But I don't know what's going on over there. What's going on with malls in America anyway? But specifically McKinley Mall, it seems like that place was kind of dead for a long time. All right, the reviews I was going to read are from the Galleria location, and that's not what I want to talk about. Because I give a 5-star review, exceptional service, for the day I ripped my pants during a wedding. That place should still be in business based on that thing that happened 25 years ago. All right, I'm gonna leave. Thanks for listening. Do all the stuff. WriterRadio.com is the place. I'm working on that while also doing a show and building all the other things around it. But that tells you where to go for all the other stuff. So like the audio archive, the plan now is the show ends. I will edit it down, get rid of the music, put it out as a podcast. You get that on Spotify. You get that on YouTube. But if you go to WriterRadio.com, that gives you the links to the other things. Right now, WriterRadio.com is super basic and it's a blog with one post. And in that post, it gives you 3 links. That's all you need for right now. Working on it, building it, growing it. It's all happening. Thank you for being a part of it. I don't have a song planned here for like an outro thing, which could just leave us with... I've been playing this song like once or twice a week. I'll play that, and it's a minute and a half long. It gives me that amount of time to give you like a closing song, and then Kevin Spacey will tell you to go to lunch, and I'll tell you to rejoin me tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern, right here on Writer Radio. Thanks for listening.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
I don't know. Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
Will you get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?